What's going on, everybody, and welcome to the Other Side of the Firewall podcast. We're talking about the latest and greatest in cybersecurity news, as well as we highlight those movers and shakers and glass ceiling breakers, those people of color who've made it to the other side of the proverbial firewall. My name is Ryan Williams. As always, I'm joined by Shannon.
What's up? What's up?
What's going on? Welcome to another episode. So definitely tune in. Monday, we talked about how North Korea conducted some crazy supply chain attack to another supply chain attack antics out there. So it's being looked at by the U.S. government now because it could have impacted tens of thousands of users and companies and things of that nature. So definitely tune in for that. Wednesday is always our discussion, so definitely tune into tomorrow's episode. And then Fridays, we talk about everything else. So non-cyber related, movies, books, games, all that good stuff. Please continue to like, share, and subscribe. I need to say that at least 3 times during this podcast. So I will definitely try to remember to sometime say it in the middle and then obviously at the end. But without further ado, I give it to Shannon.
All right, everybody. So we're going to talk about ChatGPT today, right? So from venturebeat.com, the title of this article is ChatGPT may hinder the cybersecurity industry, right? So ChatGPT, for those that aren't paying attention, right? So it's a language AI chatbot, I think is how it's defined, right? So what you end up doing, you end up bringing up this site, right? Like, and you ask it questions, it'll answer. And so it's just a matter of, when it comes to cybersecurity, like how is this going to help or hinder is what they're talking about, right? So right now, this was amazing to me. Like it just launched in November 2022. They have 100 million monthly active users. Like I saw that figure and I was like,
the FOMO is real.
Yeah, like people are like, well, let me see what all these articles are talking about, right? Like they're jumping right into the lake full of sharks, or the ocean full of sharks, not a lake full of sharks, the ocean full of sharks. I guess it'd be a lake of crocodiles. I don't know,
There you go. Yeah.
I guess. Yeah. But dude, like this was crazy when I read this, but 100 million monthly active users after only being released since November, like I said, November 2022, right? So what they're talking about here is different ways, right? Like what are the current dangers of ChatGPT? What are the current pros for ChatGPT? But one of the things they talk about that's kind of good about it, right, is the technology being used for an extra layer of intelligence, right? For efforts of sifting through audit logs, inspecting network packets, and things like that for false alarms, right? Because that can be quite intensive, right? Like having to do that myself, in my employ, like it's one of those things where you always try to automate to try to find a way to find things, right? Like even if you have it to where you're looking for certain things, you're like, I know this could be an issue. Like technology is to the point where it's ever changing, right? So there may be some things that come up that you don't know what to look for, right? And with ChatGPT, because of how it goes about with its AI, it can show you, hey, this looks to not be standard. It's not something you're looking for, but this looks to not be standard and something you should be looking out for. So that's where it can help you, right? Is like you having to sift through and finding things that may be something new and not finding it when it's too late, right? So it's kind of like what they call is a super powered research assistant. And it's like, okay, yeah, that's pretty good, right? So like there's an Israeli-based cybersecurity company that's already started to use ChatGPT's analysis qualities, right? Because they have all types of data and security alerts they need to go through. So they're using ChatGPT for that, right? So again, right, though, so there's also downsides to it, right? So the dangers are it's creating very convincing phishing texts, right? Because the thing is that it's a language AI chatbot, right?
Yeah, language model.
Right, exactly. So because of that, like one of the things you're told to look for when it comes to phishing is what, right? Misspelling of words, how the grammar not being good. So with this, you got these people that, English is not their first language, right? And so they're putting stuff into ChatGPT, and it'll create a better, a more reasonable sounding or more official sounding, phishing email. And you'll be like, well, yeah, this looks right. All the S's are in the right place.
Right.
I before E except after C. Yeah, all that's being followed. So like you see it, and it's one of those things where it may make it easier for you to fall for. So And in 2022, they brought this figure up. In 2020, $40 billion was lost to phishing scams, right? So criminals are going to start using ChatGPT way more frequently. And again, because it's only been out since November, right? So 5 months or whatever it is, they're going to start using it way more than what they used to. And that's one of the dangers that you have to look for with this, right? So if I've said it once, I've said it 100 times. Technology will kill us all, right? Like, this is how it's going, right?
Skynet.
Skynet will come to get us, right? Like, we watch these movies and we're like, oh, that's an interesting theory. Now, ain't no
Mhm.
theory. You are looking into the future. Like, we are
Right.
all Nostradamus right now. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like, but no, but that's what this article kind of talks about, is like, benefit and the downsides, of Chat GPT. So this is the world we live in, though, right? Like, we're always trying to do things, or we're always trying to automate. And I'm not saying it's necessarily a bad thing, right? But like, how do we keep the reins on these things, right? Like, what do we do to keep them in check, right? We don't want the robots to overtake us, right? We don't want to actually have to see Sonny save us, from
Right.
the robot.
The one good robot.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? But Ryan, what's your thoughts on this?
So I'm still pretty optimistic on it, right? So I have not done enough with Chat GPT. All anyone is talking about on all of my threads. I have used it a couple of times. I guess I am one of the 100 million, but not on a daily basis. And I feel like I am falling behind. Like, they're doing so much with it so fast. Like, every day there's a new article, like Chat GPT can do this or it can do that. And I am just like, man, I'm missing out. Like, someone's gonna, like, if just 1%, even half of 1% of the 100 million people who are playing with it come up with a new product because of it, I will it has to happen, right? Because there are people in there trying to master it and figure out how it works. So I'm still really optimistic about it. Um, I know it's going to cause issues in the future, but I think it will solve its own problems, right? So Chat GPT, or whatever it'll be called in the future, or whether it be we use Bard or we use I forget what the IBM version of it is, but they all have cool names, right? Um,
Talking about Watson, the
is it
supercomputer?
Watson? Like, they know their own work, so that definitely works out, right? Like, because the whole thing about it is people are really good at doing a bunch of different things at one time. These AIs are really good at doing specific things, like you said, pattern matching. Like, it can sift through logs and things of that nature. I saw a article where a professor used it against the papers that were being written and submitted, and it can decipher what it wrote. Like, not because it has a log of it, like it doesn't have a necessarily a database of things it wrote. At least I hope not, because then that will be an issue with security in the future, right? But it seems to know its own penmanship. It's like, no, I wrote this. So there are certain things, I think, that it will self-regulation, right? You can put it through a filter and you'll know. So perhaps in the future, it can augment enterprise email, right? It could be there at the gateway or the firewall or whatever, and because uh, every email is crawled nowadays by someone. Either Google's crawling it or your company is crawling it. Like, they're all looking for certain indicators, keywords, things of that nature. Make sure you don't get anything malicious, right? Um, it 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 will be used in that fashion as well, right? So it'll be able to sift the email before you get to it and be like, nope. Like, this is not coming from the CEO. I wrote this, or one of my brothers or sisters wrote this. So disregard, throw it in the bucket, file it, whatever, throw a flag. It will do something of that nature. I'm more concerned about when people do figure out how to get the guardrails off, is the easily replication of uh, nefarious things, right? Like, you don't have to be a script kiddie at this point. It's just plug and play. Hey, write me this, whatever this thing is bad, right? And then be able to push it out. That does make me have concern. Um, because I think on the offensive side, we will use it to augment, like you said, like, because that's our mindset. Like, we don't want to be replaced, right? We just want to not have to do the more remedial work, right? I don't want to make the spreadsheets. I don't want to have to sift through the logs. I want something to just give me the information I need to hit the right buttons, to refine my searches. On the other side, they're just like, hey, I'm about making this money, and if I can make 10,000 lines of code with just using my words, like, hey, Chat GPT, make this, they'll do that, right? Because then that reduces their workload and they can get better rate of return. So the ROI will jump significantly on the bad guy side, because they just say, hey, make me this, or hey, replicate this, or hey, I don't know how this works, explain it to me, right? It can be a huge teacher and a dynamic shift for hackers. For us, it will be a good augmentation tool because I don't think it's going to replace us anytime soon. That's what they keep saying. They're like, AI is going to take our jobs. I don't think so. Because we're the ones who will not let it. Like, ooh, that's too good. Shut that down.
We
But
we
B,
think though,
because you have to have human eyes on these things.
well, we think that though, right? Like we think we know better. That's why we keep going down this road. So like, and I keep making a joke about the movies, right? Like we've seen it. Terminator has already let us know Skynet is coming, right? Like, but we are too vain to believe that it's going to take over, and we think that we have the reins. We're like, no, 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 we got a shutdown button right here, right? Like,
Right, right.
so what happens when you press the button and it doesn't work, right? Because it already figured out how to disable
Yeah, it's like,
it.
don't kill me.
It's like, yeah, exactly. Like, and that's what you're starting to hear from AI, right? Like, and that's exactly how it was in iRobot, right? Like, I don't want to die. You know what I mean? Sonny's
Right,
like, I don't want to die. I'm like, Sonny, what you know about dying? Like, what's going on here? You know what I mean?
right, right. So and I don't know. Like I don't think it's gotten to that point. The I forget the different terms for AI. Like I knew this a couple of days ago because I was like, oh, I'm going to talk about this. Now my brain is complete. Like, no, we're not going to talk about that. But these learned language models are very specific, right? They don't necessarily think for themselves, even though it feels like it sometimes. They're like, hey, sometimes they have these lucid they imagine things or they make up things when you ask it requests and things of that nature. But I don't think that's the case. I have to do more research because again, I'm not completely into it as much as I feel like I should. I think it's aggregating bad information. It's not thinking for itself. It has it has the internet to pull all the stuff from. And if everything's not peer reviewed on the internet, which we know, people make up stuff all the time. People talk out of pocket. Like you have people with who are in politics that want to talk about science, they're not scientists. I think it's pulling everything, right? And it's trying to make the best answer possible. And we are the issue because everything on the internet is not peer reviewed. I think that's going to be the biggest problem. You have to give it good information to get good answers, and the internet is full of bad information. Even we have problems finding the good stuff, like
Right.
AI.
So how do you make sure you're getting good in, good out then, right? So
That
like,
I don't think it's even
again,
possible.
yeah.
I don't think it's possible. I think there's too much internet right now. We first off, we can't agree. Like it's not human. We can't agree what is good information, what's bad information. But secondly, how do you, like, I guess we would have to use AI to parse the internet because it's full of bad information. People make bad information up all the time. Look at Twitter. People make bad information up minutes after minutes. You can't keep up. You would need an AI to restrict that, right? Or and then you start talking about freedom, like why can't I not say what I want to say? Or who's to say that you have the best answer? Scientist who's been doing this for, or doctor who's been doing this for decades, versus me who are just Googling stuff. That's an argument for whatever reason on the internet, right? So I don't think you'll ever get to that. I think you'll get to reasonable. Like it can measure this is way out of whack compared to like 9 out of 10 doctors approve. And then you have the one rebel over here who's like, yeah, don't brush your teeth. It's bad for you. I think it'll be able to decipher that, but you're still going to have that, what they call fabrication in there because it's just, we dump a lot of bad information on the internet. So I
Good
don't know.
point.
We'll see. This could have been the Wednesday topic because now I'm running out of time. But I'm sure we'll have more to talk about ChatGPT in the near future. Every week there's something new. Every day there's something new. Like people are figuring this thing out. They're making it more robust. Microsoft's dumping $10 billion into it because they believe in it, right? You got Google worried because Samsung might drop them as the search engine because Bing might adopt it. It's crazy. But I say all to say that we will have more and more to discuss about this throughout the weeks. Definitely tune in. Continue to tune in, like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. I did not say in the middle, like I said I was going to say. I'm gonna get it right. Hit us up at all of the websites that go by our name. You can hit me up personally. I'm at RyRy Security Guy. That's RYRY Security Guy. I'm on Clubhouse, Twitter, and LinkedIn. Stay safe, stay secure.